There's a moment in everyone's life, especially those who feel chosen for something special, when the yearning becomes almost unbearable. The dreams they hold seem so far off, almost impossible to reach. But what if I told you that very desire, that quiet prayer you whisper when the world is still and dark, and that persistent hope living inside you, are all signs pointing to something bigger, something truly divine? My friend, you are here for a purpose. This isn't just another random moment. This is the moment. You've been led here by a guiding hand, a divine hand. You've been called, positioned, and now you stand at the edge of a powerful transformation, a shift that can rewrite everything. It's the shift from wanting to having. It's more than just changing your mindset. It's a spiritual awakening, a deep energetic realignment with the very will of heaven. Have you ever felt that unmistakable pull deep within? That sense that there's something more, waiting just beyond the limits of your belief? It's not just a fleeting feeling. It's a truth, patiently waiting to be unlocked. And today, I'm here to tell you that now is the time to step into the fullness of what you've been promised. But before you can truly claim what's been set aside for you, you have to understand the secret, the key to turning those long-held desires into tangible reality. So, I invite you to just pause and really reflect on this message for a moment. As you listen, allow yourself to feel the truth of this shift actually happening right now. You're so much more than just a dreamer. You're a chosen one. Your life is about to be overflowing with grace and abundance, far beyond anything you could even imagine right now. But here's the question. Are you truly ready to step into it? If this message resonates with you, I want you to comment the number 77 below. Let that number stand as your declaration of faith, your alignment with God's perfect timing. And if you feel so moved, leave a super thanks to support this message and the community we are building together. I see you, I appreciate you, and I thank you for being part of this journey. Let's walk this path together, shall we? Are you prepared to receive everything God has in store for you, God's chosen ones? This is the real secret, the key to going from simply wanting to actually having everything. There's a profound, divine truth that those chosen by God are meant to grasp at a deeper level. This truth isn't something easily explained or fully understood by the world. It has to be felt, experienced firsthand, and realized within yourself. God's chosen ones often sense a spiritual mark upon them, a mark unseen by most, yet incredibly powerful. Think about it for a second. Have you ever felt something stirring inside you, almost pushing you toward something greater? Even when the world around you seemed to be indifferent or just going about its business. Maybe you felt a dissonance, a subtle difference in how you experience life compared to those around you. This feeling isn't random. It's not just a coincidence. It's a divine calling, the mark of the chosen, placed there by God to reveal the divine purpose and potential lying dormant within. In the book of Jeremiah, God says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Jeremiah 1 verse 5. That scripture perfectly reflects the deep reality that God has a unique purpose for each and every one of his chosen ones. And this purpose isn't solely about achieving worldly success. It's about making that shift, moving from a place of constant wanting to a place of actually having. And this isn't just about material wealth, but about possessing the fullness of God's divine promises, promises overflowing with spiritual abundance, deep peace, and true fulfillment. As God's chosen ones, you aren't meant to live in this perpetual state of longing, constantly desiring what others have, but never quite reaching it yourself. God has called you to move beyond that mere longing, into a place where you can truly claim what is rightfully yours, everything that he has already prepared for you. It's about acknowledging that you were created with a divine purpose, and that everything you need to fulfill that purpose already resides within you. Have you ever paused to really consider the miracles woven into the natural world around you? Think about how a mighty tree grows from a tiny seed, stretching toward the sky, its roots digging deep into the earth, drawing in the nutrients it needs to truly flourish. In the same way, as God's chosen ones, your divine gift is already inside you, just waiting for the right conditions to finally bloom. The roots, they represent your faith. The trunk embodies your obedience. And the branches, They represent the blessings that are meant to bear fruit in your life. And throughout this process, it's absolutely essential to recognize the power of divine awareness. This isn't the same as human intuition. This is a much higher level of perception, allowing you to see far beyond what your physical senses can grasp. You become able to sense the spiritual atmosphere around you, to discern the intentions of others, and to recognize the pathways God is leading you toward, even when they seem unclear or hidden. This supernatural awareness is one of the gifts that sets you apart, marking you as chosen. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus speaks of the hidden treasures of the kingdom of God, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field." Matthew 13 verse 44. This treasure, this divine gift, is already yours, but it requires you to recognize its incredible value and then act accordingly. God has placed it right inside you, and the only thing left is for you to recognize it, embrace it fully, and walk confidently into the fullness of what He has planned for you. This journey from wanting to having isn't one meant to be walked in isolation. It's a path of discovery, and often, the most profound steps are taken when we connect with others who share this same journey. Together, we are stronger. Our faith is multiplied, and our actions become so much more powerful. That's why God calls His chosen ones to live in community, not just for simple support, but for the collective power that arises from sharing in His purpose. Take the life of the renowned architect, Frank Lloyd Wright, who famously said, "The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude, to me, is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill." Wright's life perfectly reflects the very essence of what it means to shift from wanting to having, understanding that the right attitude, firmly rooted in divine awareness, can change everything. And the same is true for you, God's chosen ones. It isn't about how much you physically have, but about how you perceive what is already yours. In a way, this process of transformation can be compared to the resonance of sound waves. Imagine that you are a tuning fork, vibrating at a unique frequency, one that perfectly aligns with God's divine will. The more attuned you are to that frequency, the more you're able to draw in the blessings, the wisdom, and the very purpose that God has in store for you. The closer you get to His frequency, the more of His promises you will see clearly manifested in your life. As you move from wanting to having, remember that this transition is a sacred process, one that requires both unwavering faith and decisive action. Just as an artist must first visualize the completed masterpiece before even putting brush to canvas, so too must you envision your own divine potential. It's already within you, waiting. It's up to you to claim it, to wholeheartedly believe in it, and to fully live it out. In the words of the renowned Christian author and speaker, Joyce Meyer, "You can't think your way into living an abundant life. You have to act your way into it, and you have to act like you are the person that God says you are." This very act of stepping into your divine identity, aligning yourself with the spiritual frequency that God has set for you, is the real secret, the key to moving from wanting to actually having everything. So, I ask you, what is the divine treasure that God has hidden deep within you? Have you discovered it yet? If not, now is the time to look within and recognize the gifts that God has carefully placed there. Share your story. Share your journey, and let's walk this path together, moving from a place of longing to a place overflowing with abundance. As you reflect on these truths, I encourage you to share your own experiences. What has God revealed to you about your unique divine calling? How have you experienced this very shift, this movement from simply wanting to actually having in your own life? Together, let us continue to grow and encourage each other on this incredible journey. Now, rise and embrace the divine gifts that God has so freely given you. It's time to walk into the fullness of His promises and claim everything that is rightfully yours. When you truly hear the call of the divine, it shakes you to your very core, doesn't it? There's a stirring deep within, a pull that beckons you to step forward, to embrace the unknown with open arms, and to witness the seemingly impossible become reality. As God's chosen ones, you are walking a sacred path, one that leads you from the realm of constant wanting into the promised territory of actually having. But here's the real truth. This journey isn't for the faint of heart. It requires an unwavering commitment, a relentless faith, and a deep, unshakable belief that something far greater is coming your way. The very moment you begin to feel this shift, it's like standing at the edge of a great wall, knowing in your spirit that it's about to crumble. This isn't just any change. This is a divine transformation. This is the moment when the walls of limitation and doubt begin to break down, and you are about to step into a brand new reality. If you're among the chosen, you will feel a magnetic pull, a divine attraction to stay, to endure, and to see it all the way through. Something deep inside will whisper, "This is for me." You will just know that this moment isn't just by chance. It's been ordained by God Himself. But here's a truth that many might not realize. The path of transformation isn't always easy. Some might feel restless, disconnected, or even tempted to walk away from the very word that holds the power to completely change their destiny. It's in these crucial moments that you must ask yourself, will you stay and receive the overflowing blessings that await? Or will you turn away from the divine shift that has the potential to transform your life forever? In Matthew 7 verse 7, Jesus says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you." The divine door is opening right before you, but it's up to you to step through it. The moment you choose to stay, to receive all that is being offered, and to fully trust, you will witness breakthroughs that you once thought were utterly impossible. But you must first make the choice to remain steadfast. You see, God doesn't force His blessings upon you. He invites you to walk in faith, to deliberately choose His path, and to embrace the changes that He is bringing into your life. This divine shift from wanting to having isn't a simple, superficial transition. It's a deep, spiritual awakening, one that involves fully recognizing your inherent worth and your rightful inheritance as a child of God. You aren't meant to live in a state of constant longing, always wishing for what others possess. No, you are chosen to move from a place of constant wanting to a place of overflowing abundance. As the Apostle Paul writes in Ephesians 3 verse 20, "Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us." God's boundless power is already at work within you, right now, and He is about to do immeasurably more than you could ever begin to imagine. But here's where this journey gets even more profound. You will not be walking this path alone. The divine shift isn't just an individual experience. It's a collective movement. As you step into your own personal breakthrough, you will notice others around you also experiencing their own divine shifts. Together, you will rise. Together, you will witness the transformation unfold. This is precisely why it's so crucial to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Those who are also walking in faith and are ready to receive everything that God has lovingly stored up for them. Think about the story of the renowned artist Vincent van Gogh, whose life was filled with incredible hardship and struggle. Yet, despite the immense difficulties he faced, his unwavering persistence and unshakable faith in his work ultimately led to the creation of some of the world's most beautiful and enduring art. Van Gogh once famously said, "I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream." His life perfectly reflects a powerful truth. In order to move from wanting to actually having, you must first dream. You must vividly envision the future that God has already prepared for you. Only then will you truly be able to paint your own magnificent masterpiece of divine purpose. This is the divine shift in action. It's about seeing the invisible, believing in the impossible, and trusting in the unparalleled power of God to bring it all into complete fruition. It's about boldly moving beyond your comfort zone and embracing the unknown with unwavering faith in your heart. It's about transforming your deepest desires into tangible reality through a profound, spiritual connection with the Creator. But how can you tap into this immense power? The key truly lies in awareness. This isn't mere intellectual understanding. This is supernatural awareness, a spiritual frequency that aligns you perfectly with God's will. Just as a tuning fork vibrates at a precise frequency, so too must you align your spirit with God's divine frequency. As you carefully tune your heart to His, The deepest desires of your heart will begin to perfectly align with His will, and you will begin to witness the undeniable manifestation of His promises unfolding in your life. In the famous hymn, Amazing Grace, the lyrics speak of a life completely transformed by divine intervention. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. This is the very essence of the divine shift. When you choose to stay, to receive all that is being offered, and to believe with all your heart, you will find yourself stepping into a new vision, one that was always meant for you, but only revealed when you were truly ready to see it. Now, as you stand at the very precipice of your divine breakthrough, ask yourself, are you truly ready to embrace the fullness of God's promises? Will you choose to stay steadfast, receive all that He has in store, and be utterly transformed? Will you confidently step into the divine shift that is unfolding right before your very eyes? This is your moment. This is your time. The walls of limitation are crumbling all around you. The doors to unimaginable abundance are swinging wide open. Step forward now, chosen ones, and boldly claim what is rightfully yours. You were never meant to stay in a place of constant wanting. God is lovingly calling you to move into a place of actually having, a place of profound divine fulfillment. Let's rise together, shall we? The divine shift has already begun, and it's only gaining momentum. Will you choose to be an integral part of it? Desire is often profoundly misunderstood. It isn't just a passing fancy, nor is it a fleeting wish that simply fades away with time. No, desire is something far deeper, something far more sacred. It's the divine spark that sets the course for the greater purpose that God has lovingly placed within you. It's not a random whim or a superficial yearning. It's a holy gap between exactly where you are right now and where God has already destined you to be. This gap is overflowing with potential, with the intense fire of divine intention, urging you ever forward. Desire isn't weakness, it's strength. It's a divine signal, a direct call from God Himself to awaken to your true potential, to boldly step into the life that He has been preparing for you all along. The prophet Hannah, from the book of 1 Samuel, serves as a perfect example of this powerful force. Hannah longed for a child, a deep yearning that completely consumed her heart. Her desire wasn't just a mere longing. It was a heartfelt plea that resonated in the very depths of her soul. It was an echo of something far greater, a divine call to perfectly align herself with God's grand plan. In 1 Samuel 1 verses 10 to 11, we see her desperation as she prays. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly, and she made a vow, saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant but give her a son, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life. This wasn't just a simple prayer for motherhood. It was a prayer of complete alignment, a prayer for God's will to be perfectly manifested through her. Her desire wasn't primarily about receiving something solely for herself. It was about fulfilling a profound divine purpose. Hannah's son, Samuel, was no ordinary child. He was destined for greatness. Samuel would grow up to anoint kings, guiding the destiny of an entire nation. Her deepest desire ultimately became her destiny. How incredibly profound is that? Could it be that the desires you feel burning deep inside you aren't just random wants, but actual whispers from God Himself, lovingly calling you to align yourself with His grand and intricate plan? What if these desires are actually the sacred spark that is meant to ignite the fulfillment of your own divine purpose? We see this undeniable divine power in the natural world as well. Consider the seed of a mighty tree. That seed doesn't simply wish to grow. It has an innate desire to reach for the light, to stretch its roots deep into the earth, and to reach toward the heavens. It's driven by an undeniable divine force, an unspoken calling that propels it relentlessly toward its preordained purpose. Without the seed's inherent desire to grow, it would remain dormant, never realizing its full potential. Similarly, without desire, you would remain stagnant, never pushing towards the higher purpose that God has carefully placed within you. Desire is the very fuel for growth. It's the fertile soil in which your future is planted. Without it, there is no reaching for the greater things that lie ahead. Desire is truly the seed of manifestation, and without desire, you simply cannot move forward. It isn't merely a wish for a better life. It's the profound recognition of the holy gap between your current self and the incredible person God intends for you to become. This potent desire acts as a strong bridge, allowing you to confidently cross from exactly where you are right now to precisely where you are always meant to be. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The path of desire isn't always smooth and paved with ease, and it's certainly not always celebrated by the world. In fact, there will inevitably be those who mock or relentlessly doubt your deepest desires. Take, for example, the remarkable story of Nehemiah, a servant to the king who felt a deep, undeniable desire to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, which had sadly been destroyed. This was no ordinary desire. It was a clear divine call. Yet, when Nehemiah began his monumental mission, he immediately faced intense opposition. Sanballat and Tobiah mocked him relentlessly, constantly questioning why he would even dare to attempt to restore the city's walls. But Nehemiah's desire was far greater than any opposition he faced. He understood he had a divine purpose, and he knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that this intense desire wasn't simply his own. It was undeniably God's. In Nehemiah 2 verse 20, he boldly responds to his persistent critics. The God of heaven will give us success. We, his servants, will start rebuilding, but as for you, you have no share in Jerusalem or any claim or historic right to it. Nehemiah's unwavering commitment to his profound desire, his unshakable faith in the divine plan, and his unwavering belief in God's ultimate purpose for his life propelled him ever forward, regardless of the constant stream of doubters and critics. Could it be that you, too, are experiencing opposition in your own relentless pursuit of divine desires? Are there individuals in your life who are constantly mocking your ambitions, relentlessly questioning your dreams, or undermining your own sacred divine calling? Let their pervasive doubts and negativity be the very fuel that propels you even further forward. Desire is an incredibly powerful force, and when you resolutely align yourself with God's ultimate purpose, no amount of opposition can ever truly stop you. This divine spark, this intense desire that burns deep within you, is the very beginning of your manifestation. It's God's loving way of inviting you into a deeper, more profound relationship with Him, a sacred call to perfectly align your life with His greater, all-encompassing plan. And as you move forward in unwavering faith, you will personally witness your deepest desires transform into undeniable divine outcomes. Just like a small seed that begins humbly but eventually reaches towards the sky, your desires will give way to profound fulfillment, undeniable destiny, and a powerful sense of purpose. As you sincerely reflect on this, ask yourself honestly, are you actively allowing your innermost desires to perfectly align with God's divine purpose for your life? What is that one burning desire that God has lovingly placed in your heart? The desire that is meant to guide you directly into your own unique and preordained destiny. Rise now, chosen ones. The sacred spark of intense desire within you is calling, loud and clear. Will you nurture it lovingly? Will you allow it to grow and flourish? And will you watch as it brings forth the bountiful fruit of your own divine purpose? You are not here by accident. You were carefully chosen for this very moment, for this specific purpose. Let your deepest desire ultimately become your destiny. The incredible journey from simply wanting to actually having truly begins with the intense desire to align with God's all-encompassing plan. It's incredibly easy to get trapped in a frustrating cycle of wanting, always wanting. We all know that familiar feeling, the constant longing for something we believe we desperately need to feel truly complete, to feel successful in the eyes of the world, and to simply feel at peace within ourselves. That desire can often seem overwhelmingly powerful, like an unquenchable thirst that nothing ever seems to fully satisfy. But here's the profound truth that so many often miss. If you unfortunately remain in this disheartening state of constant wanting for far too long, you actually risk reinforcing the very lack that you're so desperately trying to escape. Every single time you say, I need this, or I really want that, you are, in essence, declaring a deep separation between yourself and the very blessing you so fervently seek. You are inadvertently positioning yourself as distant from what God has already lovingly provided for you. And in doing so, you tragically extend the gap between you and your own divine inheritance. This is a critical moment, a turning point on this incredible spiritual journey. The timeless words of Jesus echo powerfully through the ages, gently reminding us in Matthew 6 verse 8. Your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. This divine wisdom completely shatters the illusion that your deepest desires must first be filled with a persistent sense of longing. Instead, it beautifully teaches us that the very moment we acknowledge God's undeniable provision, it is already present, already fully known to Him. The very act of wanting can inadvertently create a formidable barrier between us and the ultimate fulfillment we so passionately seek. Yet the divine call is always to shift from this pervasive desire to unwavering trust, from constant wanting to steadfast believing. In Mark 11 verse 24, Jesus gives us a powerful command. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is the absolutely pivotal moment where the unmatched power of unwavering faith turns constant wanting into steadfast believing, and ultimately transforms believing into tangible having. This profound transformation is not just an abstract spiritual concept. It's a supremely practical, truly life-changing truth. It's about living each and every day in perfect alignment with God's abundant promises, where your unwavering belief in the answer is as strong, if not stronger, than your own initial desire for it. It's about having unshakable faith in the unseen, as though it is already fully in your hands. Think for a moment about the prophet Elijah in 1 Kings 18, during the truly severe drought that had tragically ravaged the land. The situation was incredibly dire, and yet, Elijah didn't simply sit back passively, waiting for divine intervention to miraculously fall into his lap. He prayed fervently for rain, but he didn't just pray once and then passively wait to see what would happen. No, Elijah wisely sent his servant again and again to carefully look toward the sea. Each and every time, there was absolutely nothing visible. No clouds, no sign of rain whatsoever. Yet, Elijah's unwavering faith never wavered, not even slightly. He prayed as though the answer was already headed your way. Elijah lived with the absolute certainty that God's promise would come to pass, and he acted like it. And then the moment arrived. A small cloud appeared on the horizon, a tangible sign that Elijah's unwavering faith had indeed materialized. In time, the heavens opened up, and a mighty rain poured down, drenching the parched land. Elijah's faith in the unseen had transformed his deepest desire into a glorious fulfillment. He didn't just vaguely hope that rain might come someday. He lived as if it were already a reality. This is the level of unwavering faith that we are all called to embody in our own lives. It's simply not enough to merely ask for blessings and then sit idly by. We must truly believe deep down that those blessings are already on their way to us, that God's promises are already ours for the taking. In many ways, this profound spiritual shift mirrors the concept of resonance that we find in physics. Just as a tuning fork vibrates at a very specific frequency, your unwavering belief must align itself with the divine frequency of God's will for your life. The moment your faith resonates perfectly with the promises of God, your deepest desires are no longer just distant hopes and fleeting dreams. They become palpable, present realities. Imagine a magnificent symphony orchestra where every single note is perfectly in tune with every other note. The music flows effortlessly, soaring to breathtaking heights. Just as that symphony flows, your life will begin to flow with an unparalleled ease once your faith is perfectly aligned with God's divine purpose for you. Elijah's incredible story is not just some dusty historical account from a bygone era. It's a living, breathing example of how unwavering faith can transform our very perception of time and what we believe is possible. Elijah didn't sit around, waiting for external circumstances to miraculously change before he allowed himself to believe. He trusted, with every fiber of his being, that what God had promised was already set into motion, even if the visible signs hadn't yet made their grand appearance. And so it is with each and every one of us. The blessings that you so deeply desire are already in motion, already making their way toward you. The only real question that remains is whether you will continue to live your life as though those blessings are impossibly far away, or whether you will make the conscious choice to live as if they are already here, right now, just waiting for you to step boldly into them and claim them as your own. This is the ultimate call to action for God's chosen ones. Stop living in a scarcity mindset, constantly focusing on what you lack, and start living in the unwavering certainty of abundance, knowing that all good things are yours for the taking. The rain is coming without a doubt. The breakthroughs you've been praying for are on their way. Your deepest desires are not just some distant, unattainable pipe dreams. They are destined realities, waiting to manifest in your life. The moment you choose, with every ounce of your being, to believe that what you have so earnestly asked for is already yours, you step into a whole new realm of limitless possibility. You align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with God's divine will, and you begin to experience the miraculous manifestation of His promises unfolding in your life. Think of it like the intricate process of architecture. When a brilliant architect envisions a stunning new building, they first see it in their mind's eye, in all its glorious detail. They don't simply hope that it will somehow be built someday. They believe, with unwavering conviction, that it already exists in a detailed blueprint, ready to be brought to life. And then, they begin to meticulously lay the foundation for it, stone by stone. The moment they commit to that powerful vision, they set in motion the entire process of manifestation, transforming an idea into a tangible reality. So it is with your deepest desires. When you believe in them with unwavering faith, you lay the very foundation for them to manifest in your life. But what happens when you remain stuck in a state of constant wanting, stubbornly refusing to believe that what you desire is already on its way? The inevitable result is stagnation. You remain trapped in a state of perpetual desire, but without the essential ingredients of action, trust, and the unwavering power to change your circumstances. The tragedy of living in a state of perpetual wanting is that it effectively paralyzes your faith, keeping you stuck in a never-ending loop of unfulfilled longing. You might find yourself asking, am I just passively waiting for the rain to fall, or am I actively living as though it has already arrived, soaking the earth and nourishing my soul? How incredibly different would your life be if you consciously shifted your perspective from simply waiting for a blessing to actively walking in the unwavering certainty that it is already yours for the taking. This is the moment to rise up, chosen ones. Your unwavering faith has the extraordinary power to turn your deepest desires into tangible realities. You are no longer bound by the seemingly insurmountable distance between wanting and having. You are already living in the abundant blessings that God has so generously promised you. Step boldly into that abundance. Embrace it with open arms, and watch in awe as your life is completely transformed before your very eyes. The rain is coming, without a doubt, and it is yours to claim as your own. When you make that profound and life-altering shift from a mindset of wanting to a mindset of having, it's not merely a simple change of perspective. It's an entire transformation of your very frequency. Your entire being aligns with a new and vibrant vibration, one that resonates harmoniously with the divine abundance that God has already so lovingly prepared for you. This shift is not a gradual process, unfolding slowly over time. It is a divine breakthrough, a miraculous moment where your unwavering faith meets the unseen realm and transforms it into the seen, the tangible, the real. This is where true spiritual manifestation truly begins, taking root in your soul and blossoming into a beautiful reality. In Hebrews 11 verse 1, we are so powerfully reminded that faith is the very substance of things hoped for, the undeniable evidence of things not yet seen. Faith does not wait patiently for proof to arrive. It doesn't stand idly by, waiting for circumstances to miraculously change before it allows itself to believe. Faith is bold, audacious, and fearless. It moves forward with the unwavering confidence that what is so fervently hoped for is already present, even when the physical eyes cannot yet perceive it. In fact, true faith carries itself with the unwavering assurance that the unseen has already materialized, becoming a tangible part of your reality. It walks forward with unshakable certainty, knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that God's promises are already being fulfilled in your life. Think of the incredible example of Abraham. God spoke directly to him, declaring that he would become the father of many nations, even when he had no children, and his body was as good as dead. In Genesis 17 verses 4 to 5, God tells Abraham, As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations. But here's the stark reality of the situation. Abraham was an old man, well past his prime. His wife, Sarah, was barren and unable to conceive. The promise seemed utterly impossible by all human standards, a cruel joke of fate. Yet, Abraham's unwavering faith was not defined by his current circumstances, by the limitations of his physical body. It was defined by the unwavering certainty of God's sacred word. Abraham didn't demand proof before he dared to believe. He believed in God's promise as though it had already been magnificently fulfilled, right before his very eyes. This is the very essence of the shift from wanting to having, believing with every fiber of your being, in the promises of God, even when the tangible evidence is not yet visible to your human eyes. Abraham's unwavering faith was the catalyst for this extraordinary transformation, not only for himself but for generations to come. He chose to believe before the manifestation occurred, and because of his unwavering faith, he became the father of nations. This powerful concept is beautifully captured in the realm of music as well. Consider Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, a timeless masterpiece of unparalleled beauty. This symphony was composed by a man who was completely deaf, unable to hear the music in the traditional sense. Yet Beethoven believed with every ounce of his being in the power of his internal vision. He didn't wait for the sound to be audible to his physical ears. He composed as if the music already existed, fully formed, in the depths of his brilliant mind. Similarly, faith works like a magnificent symphony that begins in the sacred silence of our hearts, and then plays out in the world as a divine masterpiece. The unseen becomes seen through the transformative power of unwavering belief. Think of it this way. When you make the conscious shift from wanting to having, you are aligning yourself with the frequency of God's kingdom. Your unwavering faith becomes a frequency, just like the vibrations that carry sound waves through the air, bringing music to our ears. This frequency is powerful enough to break down seemingly insurmountable barriers, to move mountains of doubt and fear, and to bring heaven's divine will to earth. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take should be in perfect alignment with the unwavering reality that God has already provided everything you need to thrive, to flourish, and to live a life of abundance. The shift is not merely about vaguely desiring something. It's about knowing with absolute certainty that it is already yours for the taking. This profound shift is also evident in the field of architecture, as we discussed earlier. When an architect designs a breathtaking building, they first see the complete structure in their mind's eye, in all its glorious detail, long before it is ever physically built. The blueprint exists first as a powerful idea, a vision of the future, and then, through meticulous planning and diligent action, it becomes a tangible reality that people can inhabit and admire. Just as a magnificent building takes shape from a visionary idea, so too does your life take shape from the unwavering faith that you choose to hold on to, even in the face of adversity. You must believe with every fiber of your being in the divine blueprint of your life that God has already so lovingly created for you, and then begin building it, step by deliberate step, acting as though it is already in place, a glorious testament to your unwavering faith. But here's a deeper lesson that we must take to heart. The challenge of moving from wanting to having often lies in overcoming the self-imposed limitations of your own thoughts. When you constantly focus on what you don't have, on the perceived lack in your life, you inadvertently magnify the absence of your deepest desires, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of scarcity. However, when you consciously focus on the unwavering certainty of what God has already promised you, you begin to naturally act as though that promise has already been magnificently fulfilled, right before your very eyes. This is not just empty wishful thinking. It is a profound act of divine alignment, a powerful affirmation of your unwavering faith. It's about recognizing, deep down, that God's promises are already true, regardless of what you can currently see with your limited human eyes or feel with your transient human senses. In the inspiring words of Walt Disney, the legendary animator and entrepreneur who revolutionized the entertainment industry, all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. His groundbreaking vision for Disneyland, a magical kingdom of wonder and imagination, became a breathtaking reality because he chose to act in perfect alignment with his unwavering faith. He didn't sit around, waiting for the world to give him undeniable proof that his dreams were even remotely possible. He moved forward with unwavering conviction, believing that they were already achievable, and through his tireless actions, he created a world where those dreams could flourish and inspire generations to come. This is the same kind of unwavering belief that Abraham possessed, and it is the same kind of transformative belief that you are being called to embrace in your own life, starting right now. Now, pause for a moment and truly reflect on this. How much of your precious life has been defined by a constant longing for something that you believe you lack, something that seems forever out of reach? What profound changes would ripple through your life if you consciously shifted your focus from wanting to believing, and from believing to having, embracing the abundance that is already yours for the taking? This is your divine invitation, chosen ones. It is time to wholeheartedly embrace the shift, to leave behind the limitations of your old mindset and step into the boundless possibilities that await you. The moment you stop waiting for irrefutable proof to magically appear, you begin to see the invisible become visible, the impossible become possible. You stop longing for what is already yours and start actively living as though it has already been magnificently fulfilled, exceeding your wildest dreams. The glorious promises of God are not distant, unattainable ideals. They are already here, now, waiting to be embraced. Step boldly into that profound truth. Align your unwavering faith with the unshakable reality that the blessings you seek are already on their way, hurtling toward you with unstoppable momentum. Your belief has the extraordinary power to transform what you merely want into what you already have, creating a life of abundance, joy, and fulfillment. Romans 4 verses 20 to 21 speaks to a profound truth about unwavering faith and divine promises. Yet he did not waver through unbelief regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what he had promised. Abraham's faith was not passive or complacent. He did not simply sit back and wait for the fulfillment of God's promises to magically appear. He actively lived as though they had already been magnificently fulfilled, shaping his every action, thought, and decision. His belief was not just a fleeting mental assent. It was a deep, abiding trust that permeated every aspect of his being. Abraham's unwavering faith was a frequency, a vibrant vibration that aligned perfectly with the reality of God's promise long before it became visible to the naked eye. He lived in the vibration of having, not wanting, embodying the abundance that was already his for the taking. This is the very essence of what it truly means to shift from a state of perpetual desire to a state of effortless manifestation. Abraham's unwavering faith acted as a powerful bridge between the invisible promise and the tangible reality, allowing the unseen to become seen. His belief, his unwavering confidence in God's limitless power, allowed the promise to become tangible, to take physical form in his life. It wasn't just about patiently waiting for Isaac to be born. It was about embodying the profound truth of God's word, knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that what he had so lovingly promised was already in motion, working behind the scenes to create a miraculous outcome. This fundamental spiritual law, this principle of divine resonance, applies to every single area of your life, without exception. The universe itself, God's magnificent creation, responds to the energy you emit, to the vibrational frequency you put out into the world. If you remain stuck in a state of lack, constantly and obsessively focused on what you don't have, you will inevitably attract more of that very lack into your life, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of scarcity and disappointment. But the very moment you decide to embody abundance, to consciously choose to live in a state of gratitude, peace, and unwavering certainty, you shift your energy, altering the course of your destiny. You create an open channel, a clear pathway through which blessings can flow effortlessly into your life, enriching every aspect of your being. It's like a finely tuned radio, searching for the perfect frequency to lock onto. The moment you align yourself with the frequency of abundance, opportunities, synchronicities, and blessings begin to appear, seemingly out of nowhere, orchestrating a symphony of abundance in your life. Jesus himself demonstrated this profound principle in a seemingly impossible situation, as recounted in Matthew 14 verse 19. When faced with the daunting task of feeding 5,000 hungry people with only 5 small loaves of bread and 2 meager fish, he didn't focus on the glaring scarcity. He didn't lament over what was missing, allowing doubt and fear to consume him. Instead, he chose to bless what was already in his hands, acknowledging the abundance that was present, even in that seemingly limited form. And in that sacred moment of profound gratitude, the little became more than enough, miraculously multiplying to feed the entire crowd and leaving leftovers to spare. Jesus knew, with unwavering certainty, that the power of multiplication lies not in the absence of resources but in the conscious recognition of what we already have and the divine blessing that rests upon it. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Matthew Arba Ezra Tisa Ezra. This is a timeless and invaluable lesson that we can all apply to our own lives, regardless of our circumstances. Gratitude, when combined with unwavering faith, transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, unlocking the doors to the abundant life that God has so lovingly prepared for you. You may look at your current situation and see only a handful of meager loaves and fish, representing your perceived limitations and shortcomings. But when you choose to bless what you already have, expressing heartfelt gratitude for every small blessing in your life, it miraculously multiplies beyond your wildest expectations, filling your life with an abundance of joy, peace, and fulfillment. Gratitude has the extraordinary power to transform scarcity into abundance, creating a life of limitless possibility. But there's another incredibly powerful aspect of this transformative process that we must carefully consider: divine timing. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 tells us that to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. This is a profound truth about the divine order of the universe, reminding us that everything unfolds in its perfect time and season. You may deeply desire the blessings of God, yearning for them to manifest in your life with lightning speed. However, you may also be inadvertently holding on to the limiting notion that those blessings must arrive on your specific schedule, according to your predetermined timeline. You want the breakthrough now, this very instant, and you may even feel frustrated, disappointed, and even resentful that it hasn't yet come to pass as quickly as you had so fervently hoped. But God's timing is always perfect, even when we can't see it. His plans are infinitely higher and more expansive than our own limited understanding, orchestrating a masterpiece of divine purpose in our lives. In the world of science, we often talk about the captivating concept of frequency resonance, where objects vibrate in harmony with each other. Just as a tuning fork, when struck, resonates perfectly with the frequency of another object, so too does your life resonate with the divine frequency of God's will. When you consciously align your heart, your mind, and your actions with His perfect timing, you enter into a beautiful rhythm, a harmonious dance that is in perfect sync with the universe itself. You become like the gears of a finely tuned machine, each part moving in perfect harmony with the whole, creating a symphony of seamless operation and effortless power. This is where many of us stumble and falter on our spiritual journeys. We desperately want the blessing, the breakthrough, the miracle, but we also stubbornly want it on our own terms, according to our own carefully crafted schedule, refusing to surrender to the wisdom of divine timing. The real challenge lies in surrendering completely to God's perfect timing, trusting with every fiber of your being that what is truly meant for you will inevitably come to you at the perfect moment, when you are fully ready to receive it with an open heart. Think of the intricate process of a tiny seed growing into a towering tree, reaching for the sky with unwavering determination. The seed doesn't rush the process, impatiently demanding to become a tree overnight. It patiently waits for the right conditions to develop, for the perfect combination of sunlight, water, and time to work its magic. Similarly, the divine promise that is planted within your heart is being carefully nurtured, even now. And though it may not yet be visible to your human eyes, it is quietly growing beneath the surface, developing its roots and preparing to manifest in its due season, bursting forth into a glorious display of abundance and beauty. As the renowned philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson so eloquently said, "Adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience." In our constant desire for instant results, we often forget the quiet power of patience, the inner strength that comes from trusting the divine process, even when we can't see the full picture. When you surrender to divine timing, you allow yourself to rest peacefully in the unwavering certainty that God's plan for your life is unfolding perfectly, even if you cannot yet see the full, breathtaking masterpiece that He is creating. You might ask yourself, how often have I rushed ahead of God, trying to force His promises into my own limited timeline, creating unnecessary stress and frustration? What if I consciously chose to embrace His perfect timing, trusting that everything is ultimately happening for my highest good, even if I don't yet fully understand the reasons why? The lesson here is crystal clear and incredibly empowering. When you live in the vibrant vibration of abundance, when you align your unwavering faith with the unwavering certainty of God's promises, and when you trust, completely and without reservation, in His perfect timing, everything you so deeply desire will inevitably begin to manifest in your life. It may not happen on your specific schedule according to your predetermined plans, but it will happen at the perfect moment, when your heart is fully prepared to receive it, when you are truly ready to embrace the abundant life that God has so lovingly prepared for you. Rise up, chosen ones. Embrace the abundance that is already rightfully yours, waiting to be claimed. Live in the vibration of unwavering faith, heartfelt gratitude, and unshakable trust in God's perfect timing. You are not passively waiting for the blessing to arrive. You are already living in it, experiencing its transformative power in every aspect of your being. And as you embody it, fully embracing the abundance that is already yours, the doors will open, and the blessings will pour forth, flooding your life with joy, peace, and fulfillment beyond your wildest dreams. In the frantic hustle and bustle of daily life, it's incredibly easy to fall into the insidious trap of impatience, constantly yearning for immediate results. We pray fervently, we hope with all our might, and we expect answers to arrive instantly, like a package delivered overnight, swift and seamless. Yet, when things inevitably don't unfold according to our predetermined timeline, doubt begins to creep in, whispering insidious lies in our ears. And we begin to wonder, with a growing sense of unease, where is God? Why hasn't He delivered on His promises yet? Has He forgotten about me? But here's a profoundly empowering truth that can completely transform your perspective. God's timing is never a delay, never a sign of neglect or indifference. It is a manifestation of perfect divine precision, an intricate orchestration that far surpasses our limited human understanding. Every moment of waiting, every period of perceived delay, is an integral part of the divine process, a crucial element in the grand arrangement of your life. In Psalm 27 verse 14, we are so powerfully called to wait for the Lord, to be strong and take heart, and to continue waiting patiently for the Lord's perfect timing. Waiting is not a sign of weakness, as the world might have you believe. It is a powerful demonstration of trust, a testament to the unshakable faith that resides within your heart. It is in the waiting that your faith is refined, that your spirit is strengthened, and that you are fully prepared for the incredible blessings that are on their way. When we offer up our heartfelt prayers, we often expect immediate results, as if God were a cosmic vending machine, dispensing blessings on demand. But we often fail to recognize that while we are patiently waiting, God is actively arranging the intricate details of our lives, aligning people, places, and events in perfect harmony for the precise moment to reveal His glorious promises to you. Your perceived delay is not a denial of your deepest desires. It is, in fact, a divine setup for something even greater than you can possibly imagine, a blessing that will exceed your wildest expectations. Think of the timeless story of Sarah and Abraham, as recounted in Genesis 16. Sarah, consumed by impatience and longing, urged her husband Abraham to have a child with their servant Hagar, taking matters into her own hands in a desperate attempt to rush God's sacred promise. The devastating result was not the joyful fulfillment she had envisioned, but conflict, tension, and generations of strife. A painful reminder of the consequences of stepping outside of God's perfect timing. Sarah's impatience caused her to take matters into her own hands, disrupting the divine plan and creating chaos where there was meant to be peace. And the consequences of that decision were far-reaching, impacting not only her own life but the lives of countless generations to come. It's a powerful reminder that when we take matters into our own hands, trying to force the divine plan to fit our limited human schedule. We often create chaos where there was meant to be peace, disrupting the harmonious flow of blessings in our lives. But it's important to understand that impatience is a universal struggle, a common thread that binds humanity together. In our fast-paced, instant gratification world, we are conditioned to expect immediate results in every aspect of our lives. We have fast food, instant messaging, and on-demand everything, fueling the desire for instant gratification and making it increasingly difficult to embrace the virtue of patience. But God does not operate on our limited human timelines. He is orchestrating everything in divine precision, according to his own perfect plan. Just as a master artist takes time to meticulously perfect their masterpiece, carefully applying each brushstroke with precision and care, God takes time to shape you, to align your path, and to prepare your heart for the incredible blessings that lie ahead. Let's consider a real-world example that beautifully illustrates the power of patience. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, was renowned for his incredible patience, his unwavering attention to detail, and his steadfast commitment to his long-term vision. He didn't rush the development of the iPhone, despite immense pressure from the market and his competitors. He famously said, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do." Jobs' unwavering patience in his work, his unwavering belief in the long-term vision, and his unshakable trust in the timing of innovation ultimately led to the creation of revolutionary products that transformed the world. Jobs knew that rushing the process would only result in mediocrity, compromising the quality and impact of his creations. This same principle applies to our spiritual lives. Impatience with God's divine process often leads us to create something far less than the masterpiece he is preparing for us, settling for a pale imitation of the abundance he so desires to lavish upon us. It's not just a matter of passively waiting idly by. It's a matter of actively trusting, with every fiber of your being, that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating the intricate details of your life and moving the pieces into their perfect place. And while we wait, we must always remember that God is not idle. He is actively moving mountains, aligning hearts, and setting up divine encounters, all in preparation for the perfect moment of breakthrough and manifestation. But here's the challenge that so many of us face. How do we effectively manage the waiting without allowing impatience to sabotage our progress, derailing the divine plan that is unfolding in our lives? The key is to consciously focus on gratitude and preparation, two powerful antidotes to the corrosive effects of impatience. The act of waiting is not a passive state of stagnation. It's an active process of unwavering faith, a conscious decision to trust in God's perfect timing. While you wait, diligently work on becoming the person who is ready to receive the blessing, cultivating the qualities and skills that will enable you to steward it effectively. Just as a musician practices their scales with unwavering discipline before playing a grand symphony, so too must you prepare your heart and mind for the magnitude of what God is about to deliver, aligning yourself with the divine frequency of abundance. Gratitude is the fuel that will keep you moving forward during the often challenging waiting period, preventing you from succumbing to discouragement and despair. When you consistently express heartfelt gratitude for what you already have, for the small blessings in your life, you align your heart with the frequency of abundance, making you ready to receive the fullness of what God has in store for you. This is where patience becomes a truly powerful tool, transforming the waiting period from a time of frustration into a time of incredible growth and preparation. Patience is not about passively sitting idle, accepting your current circumstances with resignation. It's about actively trusting in the divine process while diligently preparing for your inevitable breakthrough, knowing that God's promises are always faithful and true. Just as a dedicated gardener tends to the soil with unwavering patience, carefully nurturing the seeds and patiently waiting for them to sprout and grow, you too must tend to your spirit, cultivating faith, gratitude, and perseverance, trusting that in time the seed will blossom into something beautiful and abundant, exceeding your wildest dreams. The truth is that the greatest breakthroughs in our lives often come when we stop rushing and start trusting, when we release our grip on control and surrender to the wisdom of divine timing. The moment you stop anxiously looking at the clock and start focusing on the promise, everything changes, transforming your perspective and opening you up to the miraculous possibilities that await you. Perceived delays are not denials of your deepest desires. They are divine setups, orchestrating the perfect circumstances for your ultimate success. If you find yourself in a season of waiting, I challenge you to ask yourself these transformative questions. Am I truly trusting in God's perfect timing, or am I trying to rush His plan, attempting to force my own agenda onto His divine orchestration? What if I consciously chose to embrace this waiting period, viewing it not as a punishment but as a sacred opportunity for growth, knowing that God is preparing something far greater than I can possibly imagine, something that will utterly transform my life? In the beautiful and inspiring words of Maya Angelou, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. This is the unwavering attitude that we must carry with us into the waiting, refusing to allow discouragement or despair to take root in our hearts. Just because the promised blessings haven't yet materialized in the way we expected doesn't mean that they never will. The waiting is not the end of the story. It's a vital part of the process, a necessary preparation for the abundance that lies ahead. And if we choose to trust in God's perfect timing, we will inevitably emerge from this season stronger, more resilient, more prepared, and more closely aligned with His divine purpose for our lives, ready to embrace the incredible blessings that are waiting to be unleashed. Rise up, chosen ones. Embrace the waiting with unwavering confidence, knowing that God is actively arranging everything for your ultimate good, orchestrating a symphony of abundance in your life. Your faith is being strengthened in this season, and the promises He has so lovingly made to you are closer than you realize, just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled. Don't rush the process, attempting to force your own agenda onto His divine orchestration. Trust it completely, knowing that He has a perfect plan for you. Your long-awaited breakthrough is already in motion, set into motion by the power of your unwavering faith, and it will come at just the right time, in the perfect season, when you are fully ready to receive it and steward it with gratitude and wisdom. Impatience. It's a powerful force that tugs at the hearts of so many, a universal struggle that afflicts us all at one time or another. We feel it most acutely when we want something so desperately, when we're tantalizingly close to our long-awaited breakthrough, and yet the answer seems inexplicably delayed, frustratingly out of reach. It's a feeling that creates unnecessary pain, leaving us restless, frustrated, and confused, questioning the very foundations of our faith. But let's pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and consider a different perspective, a liberating truth that can transform your entire outlook on the waiting process. What if I told you that every time you attempt to force God's hand, to rush ahead of His perfect timing, you not only delay the arrival of the promised blessing but also complicate the intricate perfection He has already so lovingly designed for your life? You see, God's promises are never late, chosen ones. They are always delivered in their perfect time and season. But our impatience can often cloud the clarity of the path He has so carefully set before us, obscuring our vision and leading us astray. In Genesis 16, we read the cautionary tale of Sarah, who, consumed by impatience, urged her husband Abraham to father a child with their servant Hagar, disregarding God's explicit promise to bless them with a son in His own perfect time. Though God had already promised them a son who would carry on their lineage, Sarah simply couldn't bear the thought of waiting any longer, allowing impatience to cloud her judgment and distort her perception of reality. She mistakenly believed that the time was now, that she knew better than God when and how her blessing should manifest. So, she took matters into her own hands, attempting to orchestrate the divine plan according to her own limited understanding. But as we all know, that ill-fated decision led to immense conflict, heartache, and years of strife, a painful reminder of the consequences of stepping outside of God's perfect timing. The child born from this union, Ishmael, was not the promised one, and his birth marked the beginning of a tangled web of complications that could have been entirely avoided had Sarah simply waited patiently for God's perfect timing to unfold. God still ultimately fulfilled His sacred promise with the birth of Isaac, the son of promise, but the lingering pain of impatience was a consequence they had to endure, a constant reminder of the ripple effects of their hasty decision. What invaluable lessons can we glean from this ancient story? lessons that can illuminate our own paths and guide us toward a life of greater peace and fulfillment. The most important lesson is that the timing of God is always perfect, unwavering, and unassailable. His divine clock never runs late, never deviates from its precise and perfect course. And yet, in our human desperation to see immediate results, to grasp our long-awaited blessings with our own hands, we often rush ahead of his divine plan, disrupting the delicate orchestration he has so carefully designed for our lives. Our impatience can cause us to take shortcuts that ultimately complicate the entire process, delaying the very arrival of what God has already ordained for us, leading us down paths of unnecessary suffering and frustration. It's a paradox, a cruel irony that underscores the importance of trusting in God's perfect timing and resisting the urge to force his hand. By attempting to rush the process, we inadvertently delay the very outcome we so desperately desire, trapping ourselves in a cycle of impatience and disappointment. It's not that God is holding back on us. The thing is, we're often so hung up on schedules and timelines that we don't have the faith to trust in his perfect timing. God's delays aren't rejections. They're actually divine setups, preparing us for something far greater than we can imagine. Trusting God's timing means surrendering control, truly believing that the path he's laid out for you is infinitely better than any path you might choose on your own. Your time spent waiting isn't a pause in your life story. It's an essential chapter, a crucial part of the preparation for the amazing things God has already planned for you. The waiting process isn't about idleness or inactivity. It's about alignment, getting yourself into the right position for what God is about to unleash in your life, even if you can't see it happening just yet. Let's dive into the bedrock of all manifestation, faith. Without faith, the significant shift you're longing for simply cannot occur. Jesus said it plainly in Luke 18 verse 27. What is impossible with man is possible with God. These aren't just comforting words or a nice sentiment. They represent a divine law of the universe. Faith moves mountains, faith parts seas, faith breathes life into barren wombs, and faith makes dry bones live again. Faith swings open doors that were once bolted shut, leading you directly into the promise God has specifically designed for you. The foundation of everything you deeply desire rests upon the incredible power of your faith. But what exactly is faith? Faith isn't just a flimsy hope that something might happen. It's the rock-solid, unwavering knowing that something already has happened in the spiritual realm. You're simply waiting for the precise, perfect moment for that reality to fully manifest in the physical world. Imagine standing at the edge of an immense ocean, gazing out at the horizon. You can't physically see what lies beyond the curve of the earth, but you know with absolute certainty that land exists on the other side. Faith is that same unwavering certainty, that deep-seated conviction that what God has promised, he will absolutely deliver, not in some far-off, distant future, but in the perfect moment dictated by his impeccable timing. Think about the majestic creation of a tree. A tiny seed lies buried deep within the soil, completely invisible to the world above. But beneath the surface, a miracle is happening. The seed is growing, stretching its tendrils toward the light. Roots are spreading and anchoring. The trunk is gaining strength, and leaves will soon burst forth in vibrant green. Just because you can't see the seed's progress doesn't mean it's not actively happening. It's in that unseen, hidden process that the seed is diligently preparing itself for the glorious moment when it will break through the earth and reveal its beauty to the world. This is faith. The seed operates with complete confidence that, in time, it will grow into something extraordinary, even while it remains in the darkness, unable to see the light. Let's also consider the captivating story of a sunken ship, discovered at the bottom of the ocean after centuries of being hidden from view. The ship had been there all along, lying in the deep, dark depths, patiently waiting for the perfect moment to be rediscovered. The sunken treasure was always present, a tangible reality, yet invisible to the world until the appointed time arrived. It's exactly the same with God's promises to you. Your breakthrough is already in the works, actively being prepared. And just because you can't see it manifesting right now doesn't mean it's not actively on its way to you. Patience isn't just about passively waiting. It's about actively trusting that the timing has already been perfectly set by God, and firmly believing that his timing is always, without exception, perfect. What happens when we refuse to wait, when we try to rush ahead and force our own timing? We can see the consequences in the lives of those who impulsively jumped ahead, trying to seize control of their own destinies. Just like Sarah, who grew impatient waiting for God's promise of a child, the result wasn't the fulfillment of the promise, but rather pain, conflict, and profound regret. The consequences of impatience aren't just confined to personal struggles. They create ripples that negatively affect the lives of others around us. This is your calling, chosen ones. Put your complete trust in God's timing, knowing deep in your heart that He is actively preparing everything perfectly for you. The blessings you seek aren't being withheld. They're being perfectly aligned, like pieces of a divine puzzle, with the right moment, the right people, and the right opportunities. Your unwavering faith and steadfast patience will unlock doors that no one, no force on earth, can ever shut. You aren't simply waiting for God to act. You are actively preparing yourself to walk boldly into the full manifestation of His promises in your life. Ask yourself honestly, how often have I rushed ahead of God's carefully laid out plan, mistakenly believing that my timing is superior to His? What incredible things would happen if I fully and completely trusted in His perfect timing, knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, that my blessings are already on their way. Rise up, chosen ones. It's time to live and breathe in the unshakable faith of knowing that God's promises are already set in motion, moving toward you even when you cannot see them. Wait with confidence, wait with unwavering trust, and wait with the absolute certainty that everything you need is being perfectly arranged for you, right now. His timing isn't a delay. It's the perfect, divinely orchestrated moment when everything comes into perfect alignment. Faith without works is dead. These powerful words from James 2 verse 26 hold a timeless truth that resonates just as strongly today as when they were first written. Faith isn't simply about believing in your heart. It's about actively acting on that belief, stepping boldly into the fullness of what God has promised you. Faith isn't passive. It doesn't sit idly by waiting for perfect conditions to materialize. Faith moves forward, even when the path ahead is shrouded in uncertainty, because faith knows, deep in its core, that the blessing is already a tangible reality. Just as a builder begins to lay bricks long before the magnificent structure is visible, so too must you step confidently into your blessing, knowing that the unstoppable power of heaven is already actively at work in your life. When you take action rooted in your unwavering faith, you actively invite God's divine intervention into your life. It's in that courageous act of stepping forward that you unlock the door to the supernatural, to the miraculous. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in a completely dark room with a closed door. You could remain in that room forever, passively waiting for someone else to open the door for you. But the instant you take a deliberate step toward the door, it swings wide open, revealing the light. It's the same with faith. The moment you act, you actively invite the power of heaven to move on your behalf, illuminating the path that lies before you. This is where many believers stumble and falter. They mistakenly wait for the blessing to visibly show itself before they take any action. But faith demands movement. You cannot simply sit passively, hoping that things will magically change. You must boldly declare, with unwavering confidence, that your blessing is already in motion, that it's already heading your way. This doesn't mean ignoring the realities of your present circumstances or pretending that everything is already perfect. It means actively acting as if God's promises are already in transit, making their way to you, regardless of what your current circumstances may tell you. It's in that courageous act of faith that the miracles unfold, one by one. Philippians 4 verse 19 reminds us of a powerful, life-altering promise. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus. This scripture isn't just a comforting phrase to repeat. It's a powerful declaration of God's limitless, abundant provision. There is absolutely no scarcity in heaven, and when you actively align yourself with God's kingdom, you're aligning yourself with the unshakable truth of abundance. Scarcity is a lie, a deeply rooted lie born out of fear and a sense of lack. It's a deceitful voice that whispers that there isn't enough for you to succeed, to thrive, to live a life of fullness and joy. But abundance is the absolute truth of God's kingdom. an overflowing wellspring of limitless possibilities, blessings beyond measure, and unwavering provision. To actively align yourself with abundance means consciously shifting your mindset away from lack and toward profound gratitude. When you align yourself with abundance, your entire perspective undergoes a radical transformation. You no longer look at your circumstances and feel a sense of despair, hopelessness, or intense longing. Instead, you begin to recognize the abundant blessings that are already richly present in your life. The world around you begins to shift as you speak the powerful language of abundance. Instead of saying, "I wish I had," or "I don't have enough," you begin to boldly declare, "Thank you, God, for all that I already have." Gratitude becomes the lens through which you perceive the world, and as you actively shift your mindset, you begin to witness miracles unfolding right before your very eyes. Think of a tree in full, glorious bloom. At the precise moment when a seed is planted in the earth, its potential is not yet visible to the outside world. Yet, beneath the surface, something incredibly powerful is taking place. Roots are spreading, anchoring the tree, and it's growing in ways that cannot yet be seen. Even though the luscious fruit is not yet visible to the human eye, the tree knows that it's on its way, that it's part of its destiny. The tree doesn't question whether the fruit will come. It simply aligns itself with the unwavering laws of nature and grows with unwavering confidence. In the same way, when you act in faith, you're actively aligning yourself with the abundant promises of God. The fruit of your faith will absolutely come to pass, even if you cannot yet see it manifesting. Just as the tree doesn't question the changing seasons or the natural cycles of nature, you must trust, with every fiber of your being, that God's promises will manifest in due time, at precisely the right moment. Let's consider the life of a famous entrepreneur, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah, whose life has been marked by incredible success and influence, once shared, "The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate." Oprah's journey was certainly not without significant struggle, hardship, and moments of profound doubt, but she made the conscious choice to embody gratitude and a deep-seated belief in abundance. She chose to consistently focus on what she had rather than what she lacked, and that transformative mindset completely reshaped her reality. She chose to act in faith, knowing that opportunities would naturally emerge as she actively aligned her actions with her divine purpose. Her life stands as a powerful testament to the transformative power of stepping forward in faith, even when the desired outcome is not yet clearly visible. When you truly embody abundance, it's not about denying the challenges and hardships you inevitably face. It's about acknowledging them honestly and then making the deliberate choice to step into the boundless power of God's unwavering provision. It's about boldly declaring, "Though I may not see the entire picture clearly yet, I know without a shadow of a doubt that my God is already actively at work in my life." This kind of unwavering faith shifts the very atmosphere around you. It transforms your words, your actions, and the very nature of your relationships. It unlocks doors that were previously firmly closed and creates opportunities where there once appeared to be nothing but obstacles. And here's the pivotal question. Are you willing to step fully into abundance? Are you ready to actively align your actions with the unwavering belief that God's promises are already unfolding in your life, even if you can't see them manifesting just yet? Can you trust implicitly and completely that when you take that first courageous step, the power of heaven will move in ways you never could have possibly imagined? When you deliberately choose to act in faith, you're choosing to unlock the doors of heaven and actively invite God's limitless power to flow into your life. But faith undeniably requires action. The promise of abundance is already rightfully yours, but you must take a bold step forward and actively claim it. Your words and actions must be in perfect alignment with the unshakable belief that the blessings are already here, already within your reach. Chosen ones, rise now. Your unwavering faith will move mountains, and your overflowing gratitude will multiply your blessings beyond measure. Step forward with unwavering confidence, knowing that God's perfect timing and limitless provision are already actively at work in your life. The unstoppable power of heaven is eagerly waiting for you to take that first step, to boldly move forward in faith. The moment you shift from pleading to praising, from paralyzing fear to overwhelming gratitude, and from passively waiting to actively receiving, something profoundly powerful happens deep within you. It's as though the universe itself aligns with your heart, your unwavering faith, and your divine purpose. But in order to fully step into this divine flow of abundance, you must first release the resistance that's holding you back. Resistance is the hidden, often unrecognized, force that actively blocks the flow of God's blessings into your life. It manifests in many forms, including paralyzing fear, the need for rigid control, and crippling doubt, all powerful forces that cling tightly to you, subtly pulling you away from the abundant life that God has already lovingly prepared for you. The tighter you grip, the harder it becomes to freely receive the blessings that are rightfully yours. In Matthew 6 verse 34, Jesus offers a profound insight that can radically transform your perspective. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Worry, he tells us, is nothing more than wasted energy. It's a drain on the soul, a thief of peace and joy, and a major obstacle to receiving God's blessings. When you succumb to worry, you are essentially blocking the flow of God's provision and His divine purpose for your life. The more you worry, the less you trust. The more you try to control the situation, the more you resist the natural, abundant flow of blessings that are meant to come to you. Release it. Surrender the how and the when to God's perfect plan. Trust, with every fiber of your being, that God knows exactly what you need and when you need it most. God's ways are infinitely higher than your ways. As Isaiah 55 verse 9 reminds us, as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts than your thoughts. When you consciously release resistance, you're surrendering to God's perfect, divinely orchestrated plan for your life. You're acknowledging that His timing is flawless, even when it doesn't align with your own limited schedule or expectations. It's in this courageous act of surrender that you open yourself up to the divine flow of blessings, unconditional love, and profound purpose. Consider the powerful example of a flowing river. A river effortlessly flows toward its ultimate destination, encountering rocks, boulders, and other obstacles along the way. But it doesn't stop, it doesn't resist the continuous flow of the current. Instead, it skillfully moves around the rocks, gracefully finding the path of least resistance. The more it surrenders to the natural current, the smoother and more effortless its journey becomes. This is how you must live your life, surrendering to the divine flow, trusting that the powerful current of God's will take you exactly where you need to go, even if you don't fully understand the path that's unfolding before you. This is where unwavering faith meets intentional action. As you release the need for rigid control and trust implicitly in the divine timing of your life, your prayers undergo a radical transformation. No longer are you desperately pleading, begging God for answers that seem elusive. Instead, you begin to praise Him proactively for what has already been given to you, for the blessings that are already on their way. Your posture shifts from one of anxiously waiting to one of gratefully receiving. The very moment you trust wholeheartedly in God's provision, you unlock the door to the abundant blessings that have been patiently waiting for you all along. Think of a tiny seed that is carefully planted in the fertile soil. The seed cannot control how or when it will sprout and grow. It can't control the amount of rain, the intensity of the sunshine, or any other aspect of the growth process. It simply surrenders completely to the natural rhythm of creation. And when the conditions are perfectly aligned, it bursts forth from the soil, transforming into something incredibly beautiful and life-giving. You, too, must surrender to the inevitable process of growth, trusting that God is actively working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything perfectly to bring your blessings into full fruition. The seed doesn't need to constantly ask, when? Because it innately knows that in time, the majestic tree will emerge. Living in the state of having is not just about accumulating material blessings. It's about embodying profound peace, unwavering trust, and absolute certainty in every aspect of your daily life. It's a deeply ingrained state of mind, a way of being that aligns perfectly with the unshakable reality that everything you need is already rightfully yours. Romans 8 verse 28 powerfully affirms this truth, saying, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." All things work together for your ultimate good if you choose to trust, if you choose to surrender, if you choose to release the resistance that's holding you back. The obstacles you face are not impassable blockages. They are actually stepping stones strategically guiding you toward your divine purpose. When you consistently live in the state of having, you stop anxiously asking when, and start boldly declaring now. You stop perceiving obstacles as insurmountable barriers and begin recognizing them as invaluable opportunities for growth and profound learning. When you proactively shift your mindset from desperately waiting to gratefully receiving, you step fully into the abundance that God has already lovingly promised you. Consider the remarkable journey of Thomas Edison, the famous inventor who brought the electric light bulb into the world. Edison encountered countless failures, setbacks, and frustrating dead ends on his path to ultimate success. But he never allowed those obstacles to define him or stop him from pursuing his vision. In fact, he actively viewed every failure as a stepping stone, a valuable lesson that brought him one step closer to his breakthrough. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's perspective serves as a powerful example of how we must reframe our perception of life's inevitable obstacles, not as permanent blockages, but as necessary and invaluable steps on the path to achieving greatness. He made the conscious choice to move forward with unwavering faith, trusting that each frustrating setback was an integral part of the process of discovering the ultimate solution. Now let me ask you directly, what is it that you're holding on to so tightly that it's currently preventing the free flow of blessings into your life? What incredible possibilities would unfold if you fully surrendered to God's perfect plan, trusting that He has already prepared absolutely everything you need for this specific season of your life? In the same way that a magnificent tree doesn't struggle to grow, you, too, must stop actively fighting the natural process. Trust implicitly that God is orchestrating every single event in your life for your ultimate good, even if you can't see the full picture manifesting just yet. When you stop anxiously asking when, and start boldly declaring now, you step into the fullness of God's unwavering provision. Rise up, chosen ones. Your blessings aren't just coming sometime in the future. They are already here, actively surrounding you right now. Release the resistance that's holding you back, step boldly into the flow of God's grace, and watch in awe as the abundant life you've been so eagerly waiting for gracefully unfolds before your very eyes. Trust the divinely orchestrated process, trust the impeccable timing, and know with unwavering certainty that God is with you every single step of the way. There inevitably comes a transformative point in every believer's life when they consciously stop comparing themselves to others. They fully realize that abundance is not a limited resource, but rather an infinite, inexhaustible wellspring. There is absolutely no need to measure your inherent worth against anyone else, because the universe is not a competition. God's kingdom is vast and expansive, and there is more than enough for absolutely everyone to thrive and prosper. The very moment you truly grasp this liberating truth, your life begins to undergo a profound transformation. You begin living in a constant state of gratitude, not just for the tangible blessings you can readily see, but also for the invisible blessings that have not yet physically manifested, but are already rightfully yours in the spiritual realm. In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, we are gently reminded to walk by faith, not by sight. This is the very essence of living in the state of having. It's about consciously recognizing the abundant blessings that are already richly present in your life, even when they haven't yet materialized in the physical world. It's about wholeheartedly believing that they are already yours and living your life accordingly, as if they are. This fundamental shift in perspective changes everything about you. It transforms your mindset, your behavior, and your very energy. When you consistently live in the unshakable truth of having, you carry yourself with a newfound sense of confidence and peace. You stop seeking, chasing, or desperately yearning for what is already rightfully within your reach. Instead, you become a magnet, effortlessly attracting everything you desire. The energy you radiate is no longer one of desperation, anxiety, or a sense of lack. It is one of profound peace, overflowing joy, and unshakable faith. This radiant energy doesn't go unnoticed by the world around you. It draws everything you need toward you with surprising ease and grace. Synchronicities increase dramatically, miracles begin to unfold with greater frequency, and incredible opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. In fact, you'll naturally begin to meet the right people at precisely the right time, individuals who will support and guide you on your journey. You'll find yourself in places and situations that seem to align perfectly with your divine destiny. All of this effortlessly flows into your life not because you frantically chased after it, but because you actively aligned yourself with it. Your conscious alignment with abundance has already paved the way, and now the blessings naturally follow, like a river flowing smoothly toward the ocean. Think of the way sunlight works. It doesn't have to actively chase after a flower to make it bloom in vibrant color. The sun simply shines its radiant light, and as a direct result, the flower naturally grows, reaches upward, and blossoms in all its glory. It doesn't struggle to grow. It simply exists in the light. Similarly, when you choose to live in conscious alignment with the abundance that is already rightfully yours, you will naturally attract the blessings, the supportive people, and the incredible opportunities that are meant to be an integral part of your journey. You don't have to chase them. They are drawn to you as you walk confidently and purposefully in the radiant light of your divine purpose. But here's the critical key. You are not meant to live a life defined by lack, limitation, and scarcity. You are not meant to remain stuck in the valley of longing, endlessly searching for something you perceive to be missing. God's unwavering intention for you is not a life of scarcity and deprivation, but one of overflowing abundance and overflowing joy. You were not created to remain in a place of persistent yearning. You were created to rise, to receive, and to co-create with God, bringing your unique gifts and talents to the world. You are divinely meant to thrive in every area of your life. The very moment you realize this profound truth is the moment that absolutely everything changes. Consider the timeless story of David and Goliath from 1 Samuel 17. David, a humble shepherd boy, bravely stood before the imposing giant Goliath, who seemed insurmountable and terrifying to everyone else. The entire army of Israel saw only the sheer size of Goliath and his overwhelming strength. But David saw something entirely different. He saw his unwavering faith in God. And in that faith, he knew with absolute certainty that victory was already rightfully his. He didn't perceive Goliath as an insurmountable obstacle. He saw him as an invaluable opportunity for God's limitless power to be demonstrated. David confidently walked into that seemingly impossible battle, not as someone desperately seeking victory, but as someone who already had it secured. His unwavering faith in God's promises gave him the unwavering courage to act boldly and decisively. And as we all know, David's profound alignment with God's power allowed him to effortlessly defeat the giant with nothing more than a simple stone. When you consciously align yourself with God's unwavering promises, you move through the world differently. You stop merely hoping for what God has already promised you, and you start knowing with absolute certainty that it is already yours. Your energy shifts dramatically from one of anxious waiting to one of grateful and joyful receiving. This is the fundamental shift from wanting to having, from passively hoping to actively knowing, and from anxiously waiting to gratefully receiving. And when you courageously step into that transformative shift, the doors to overflowing abundance swing wide open. But there is an important warning that comes with this powerful transition. Resist the persistent temptation to remain stuck in the waiting room of your life. Far too often, we allow the doubts and fears of the world to convince us that we are somehow not worthy of abundance, that we don't deserve to receive God's blessings. We falsely tell ourselves that we must wait for everything to be perfect before we can finally step into the fullness of God's blessings. This is the insidious lie of scarcity, a deceitful voice that seeks to keep you trapped in a cycle of lack. God has already lovingly designed your unique path, and your role is simply to step into it with unwavering faith and unwavering courage. The waiting is over. It's time to act now, to behave as though you are already living in the overflowing abundance God has already promised you. Look at the inspiring story of Job. Job lost everything he held dear: his wealth, his beloved family, and even his physical health. But even in the darkest depths of despair, Job never lost his unwavering faith in God's goodness. He didn't allow his devastating circumstances to dictate or diminish his unshakable belief in God's promises. Job's unwavering faith, even in the face of unimaginable hardship, was the key that unlocked God's ultimate restoration in his life. God blessed Job with twice what he had before. Why? Because Job consciously remained aligned with God's truth, even when everything around him seemed to contradict it. And that unwavering alignment drew him into a season of unimaginable blessings and profound joy. So hear me clearly, chosen ones. You are not meant to remain stuck in a perpetual state of lack and limitation. You are divinely meant to rise, to receive, and to thrive in the abundant life that God has already lovingly prepared for you. It's time to stop passively waiting for your miracle to magically appear and start actively receiving it right now, in this very moment. Your abundance is already actively on its way to you. It's simply been patiently waiting for you to claim it, to step into it with unwavering faith and joyful expectation. Your thoughts, your actions, and your energy must all consciously shift into alignment. The very moment you align yourself with God's unshakable truth and believe with every fiber of your being that you are already whole, complete, and abundantly blessed, everything begins to change. You will no longer need to desperately seek blessings, because they will already be richly present within you. Now, let me ask you a deeply probing question. How often have you unknowingly lived in a state of waiting, as though what you truly need is just perpetually out of reach? What powerful changes would occur if you consciously started to declare right now, in this very moment, that you are already living in abundant provision, actively receiving everything that God has already prepared for you? Rise up, chosen ones. The time for passively waiting is decisively over. It is time to consciously shift from anxiously wanting to joyfully having. Step boldly into the overflowing abundance that is already rightfully yours. The doors are wide open, the blessings are freely flowing, and all you need to do is confidently walk through, embracing the limitless possibilities that await you. As we reach the conclusion of this transformative journey, one fundamental truth becomes overwhelmingly clear. The shift from wanting to having is not simply a matter of fleeting desire. It's a matter of deeply ingrained belief. This powerful transformation begins deep within the heart, in the moment when you consciously stop waiting for your blessings to miraculously appear and start actively living as though they are already rightfully yours. It is not about anxiously asking or desperately pleading for what you think you need. It is about stepping boldly into the abundant life that God has already lovingly prepared for you. This is the ultimate secret to successfully going from wanting to having absolutely everything you need. God's unwavering promises are not merely distant hopes or wishful dreams. They are already intricately woven into the very fabric of your life. The pivotal question is, how do you truly believe in them with your whole being, with every fiber of your existence? Are you willing to consciously move from a limiting mindset of lack to an empowering mindset of overflowing abundance? The very moment you choose to actively align when you infuse your actions, words, and overall energy with the profound truth that you already possess everything you require, you wholeheartedly embrace the fullness of the destiny God has meticulously crafted for you. To genuinely live in a state of having entails embracing an unwavering sense of inner peace, a deep-seated trust, and an unshakable certainty that every desire of your heart is already yours in essence. It's about truly grasping that God's timing is always impeccable, and His divine ways infinitely transcend your own limited understanding, as beautifully illustrated in Isaiah 55 verse 9. As you courageously step forward in unwavering faith, you not only receive the magnificent blessings that God has lovingly prepared and set aside specifically for you, but you also become a conduit, a vessel, through which those very blessings can freely flow and extend to touch the lives of others. You become a carrier of the immeasurable abundance of heaven itself. And through your wholehearted alignment with God's perfect will, you actively participate in the sacred mission of bringing heaven's goodness and grace right here to earth. However, it's essential to acknowledge that this transformative shift in perspective and being demands true courage. It necessitates that you intentionally step beyond the perceived boundaries of your comfort zone and place your complete trust in something far greater and more powerful than yourself. It challenges you to view the metaphorical mountains in your life not as insurmountable obstacles designed to thwart your progress, but rather as precious stepping stones meticulously placed along your path to help you reach your ultimate, divinely ordained purpose. When you purposefully align yourself with the concept of abundance, your entire perspective undergoes a profound change. You cease perceiving obstacles as impenetrable barriers and instead begin to recognize them as invaluable opportunities for exponential growth and learning. This shift in perspective is the true, unadulterated power of faith, not merely believing that God can accomplish the extraordinary, but knowing with absolute certainty that He will. The very instant you choose to consciously step into the fullness of your inheritance, everything around you begins to transform. Consider the example of seeds planted in the ground. When a seed is lovingly placed in the earth, it doesn't question whether it will sprout and grow or remain dormant. Instead, it implicitly trusts the natural process. It willingly surrenders to the divine timing of the seasons. It doesn't impatiently rush the arrival of the rain, the warmth of the sunlight, or the nourishing richness of the soil. It simply grows patiently and steadily. In the same way, you must cultivate a deep sense of trust in the process of your own personal growth and development. You must have unwavering faith that even during times when things appear slow, uncertain, or even chaotic, God is actively working behind the scenes, orchestrating events for your ultimate good. Your steadfast faith in His perfect timing, when combined with your purposeful actions, will inevitably bring about the abundant and fulfilling life that He has so lovingly promised you. You were specifically chosen for such a time as this. You were never intended to exist in a perpetual state of longing, constantly waiting, and endlessly wondering if you will ever receive the blessings that your heart deeply desires. No, you were divinely created to rise above limitations, to thrive in every area of your life, and to co-create alongside God, bringing your unique gifts and talents to the world. You are His masterpiece, His beloved creation, and His comprehensive plan for your life is already set in motion, unfolding perfectly. It's not a question of if these blessings will manifest, but rather when. The central question that remains is this: will you have the unwavering faith to trust in His timing? Will you consciously align yourself with His divine plan and confidently step into the abundance that has already been meticulously prepared and set aside just for you? If you've been patiently waiting for permission to step boldly into your divine destiny, consider this your official invitation. God has already equipped you with every resource, talent, and inner strength you need to transition from a state of merely wanting to fully having. The innate power you need resides within you, waiting to be activated. The abundance you seek is all around you, readily accessible. It's time to cease endlessly asking when and begin boldly declaring now. Live each day as though your dreams have already come to fruition. Move forward with unwavering confidence and heartfelt gratitude, knowing deep in your soul that everything you desire is already on its way to you, aligning with your path perfectly. You are not simply waiting for a miracle to arrive. You are actively living in it right now. As you navigate this path, remember to cultivate a life filled with genuine gratitude. A heart overflowing with thankfulness will naturally align you with the effortless flow of abundance. It will open doors that once seemed impenetrable, create unprecedented opportunities, and usher profound peace into every aspect of your life. No matter where you currently find yourself on your personal journey, make a conscious decision to thank God for the blessings you may not yet see with your physical eyes but know, with unwavering faith, are already making their way to you. If this message has deeply resonated with you today, I sincerely encourage you to share it with others. Share the profound truth of God's abundant and unwavering promises. Like this video, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring messages that will uplift your spirit. Whether you choose to support this channel through super thanks or not, please know that I am deeply grateful for your presence here. Your journey truly matters, and I pray that you continue to flourish in the fullness of God's boundless love and immeasurable abundance. As we bring this time together to a close, let's offer a prayer of gratitude for the blessings that are already on their way to you. May you walk confidently, knowing deep in your heart that you are chosen, you are worthy, and you are already whole and complete. May you find profound peace in every step you take, unwavering faith in the face of every challenge, and unbridled joy in every precious moment. You are not simply waiting, you are actively receiving. Your transformative shift from a mindset of wanting to a state of having has already gloriously begun. Rise up, chosen ones. It's your time to thrive and shine brightly.